outside with shoes on, one step, wall double backflip. What's up, guys? Today's guest is a professional freerunner turned stuntman who just completed working on Disney's latest film, Jungle Cruise, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Ben Jenkin. What's up, Jenks?
What's up, Trav?
And just to clarify, there's no S at the end of his name, which I know now.
Nope.
Actually, when we first met, I put out a video of us like a long time ago, and I actually put an S at the end. And I realized this like just a couple years ago, and I was like, what a shitty friend. One? Yeah, I think so. Which is crazy to think about because I feel like I know the start of your career better than what you've been doing recently. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we were more aligned together at the start of things, and then you've kind of made your own path the last couple of years. So what did you just finish working on?
I just got done doing Disney's Jungle Cruise with The Rock and Emily Blunt.
Dope.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a weird job, though, in the way that, like, I wasn't really doing, like, normal stunts. I was kind of playing, like, a specific character, like a creature.
Okay.
Which, like, kind of needed to be there, but kind of didn't. Like, I would do a shot where I was the creature, I was the panther moving around, and then they do a shot without me. So it was, like, 50% doing something, 50% not, you know?
Yeah.
And then most of the time they would use the clip without me just so they can visual effects everything in. So
it's mostly like motion capture kind of stuff, right? Like motion capture mixed with reference videos.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in a specific suit that they can track and, you know, edit over if they need to. But most of the time it's just easier to edit over nothing than edit over someone, you know?
Yeah. Was it any of the same team from Jungle Book?
The original shoot was, but I just got done doing the reshoots for like a month and a half, but the original shoot was the first AD, and then that was it, actually. It was the first AD.
Wow, yeah. So Dave Angus. Shout out to Dave Angus, man. Yeah. If you guys have ever worked with Dave Angus on a set, he just commands the set with his voice. And what does he always say? Be green, save the
planet, be green,
save the planet, save the planet. Yeah, be green, be nice. Yeah, save the planet. Yeah. He's an awesome guy. I actually just finished working with him on Mouse Guard, which was a movie we were working on with Wes Ball and them that unfortunately just got canned once Sony and the whole Disney thing went down.
Actually.
Yeah. So. But it was cool to see Dave. He's always a good guy.
Dope.
Yeah, so before that, though, what was the last thing you did? I think you worked on Fast and Furious 8 at one point.
Fast 8, and then more recently was like Gemini Man and Birds of Prey.
Damn.
And... oh, God, I can't remember. It's so hard to remember, like, when people are like, oh, what was the last thing you worked on? You try and think, and just because, like, the movies are coming out, you know, what movie's coming out and what you just worked on.
It's only hard when you work a lot.
Shut up.
When you don't work a lot, you definitely remember the last thing you did. Oh, no, it's a good problem to have, man. No, it's
you know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah,
like, you're like, what movie's coming out now but you filmed 2 years ago, but then what movie have you just filmed that's going to come out in 2 years that kind of gets all muddled up a little bit?
I don't know what that's like. I don't know.
Shut up, Trav. You know exactly what it's like.
It's really funny to hear these, man, because like when I really think about you a long time ago, the first vision that pops in my head is you with the shaved head, and I wouldn't even call you Ben, I would call you Jenks.
Yeah.
You were just this little spry little kid who was like super skinny, super wiry, and
always wore a beanie.
You always wore a beanie.
Yeah.
You used to only eat fried chicken.
Yeah.
And
no veggies.
No veggies, no sushi, no fish.
Yeah, I used to hate sushi.
I know you used to hate sushi, Doug.
Yeah.
And now this guy would be sending me pictures from all over the world, and I'm like, where's this Toro with gold flakes you're eating, Ben?
Yep.
No, it's cool, man. It's a really cool thing to see the progression, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to have you on here is that I know, as far as I'm concerned, in the parkour community, a lot of people know you from being like, for lack of a better term, a generation ago. I almost feel like we're like a generation ago now. It's kind of sad to think about.
Yeah, I mean, God, I haven't put a parkour video out in I don't know. You guys might know more better than I would. Like, what was the last one like?
Well, I mean, the last reel you ever put out was still Unfinished 08. Like,
yeah,
as far
I have
as
a new reel.
is
It's on Vimeo, but I don't care about videos. I never even filmed my own videos. You know, I nor edit my own videos. I would just have, you know, other people would just do it. I never really cared.
And that kind of alludes back to like the kind of the video that put you on the map. Can you try to find the 08 Unfinished reel? Like, that's pretty much the video I feel like a lot of people still refer to when they think about bringing you up in the parkour community.
Yeah.
And this video came out
Square as well.
It came out in what, 2008, and I remember you told me that you like edited this on a train.
Yeah, well, the reason it was an unfinished showreel was because I had to have a video ready for WFPF, and I edited it on the way to the Barclaycard World Championships.
No way.
So
when
I had
you competed
to
for
give
the
him a
first time.
video, and I was planning on finishing it, which was why it's called Unfinished. And then I just never did.
And the best part about that it's unfinished, is that you literally call it Jank's unfinished show reel. But at the same time, like a lot of the clips that happened in this reel, you know, not to blow smoke up your ass, were some of the first times we saw a lot of these moves done over 11 years ago. You have like start the thing off with a gainer 720 into front roll, front flip. Yeah. This is also the video where you do front flip precision, which was something I remember wasn't really popular. Right here, actually. Yeah. Front flip precision. Look at the old brain. Still after all the brain damage, I remember. And I remember at the end, wall 720. Yeah. Wall 720 at the end, which was a huge deal. And I think more than anything, the one thing that really stood out to me in this video and about your style was you always threw the extra front flip at the end. And I asked you about that a long time ago, and you kind of had like a funny answer of just like, why not? Like, yeah, why did you throw fronts always instead of just rolling and just being done?
Well, I think most of the time, like when you're doing like a precision, I don't know, I feel like either I did it and I wanted to do more, or I didn't stick it and I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just throw a front flip because I'm going to fall, so I may as well throw
use the momentum and throw a front flip?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it kind of just...
Handstand backflip,
yeah.
Handstand backflip. Guys, if you have not seen this video and you put it into perspective, when you watch other videos from 2008, no one's doing this stuff, you know? No one's doing this stuff at all. And it's all outside.
Yeah, everything's outside.
And most of this is shot around back in your hometown, right? Back in Blackburn.
Everything is,
most of it's your back garden. Anytime it's the trampoline, that's his back garden. I think
there's a few clips from like Cambridge, but everything is just, we'd ride our BMXs and...
And here's the one, the world's first wall 720.
Yeah. That was a funny day. Yeah. I remember doing that.
What led to landing that? Because you've always been able to wall full easily, right? And wall full gyro, or
that's literally my garage of my house.
Yes.
And it just has this really thin like brick wall.
Yeah, there's
with
only a small part to hit.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of it is just like wood. If you were to step on that, you'd go right through it.
So you have to hit that part.
Yeah, but it's a big enough part. You know, it's like a foot or something.
So what led you to think you're going to land that day?
I think I did a wall full. And I was trying to get footage together for this video. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do a wall full. So Kieran Kiarni, Cord. He would film everything. So I was just like, let me do a wall full. And I was like, I feel good today. Like, I'm going to try and do an extra spit, like an extra half turn. So I did a 540. And then I was just like, I feel like I could double twist this. And I just like kept working it. And you know when you do like when you're like testing a double full and you do like a 540 with a little bit extra, and it doesn't feel the same. It's not the same. You don't get the same spin, the rotation, anything unless you really go for a double full.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna try it. And then I did one. The first one I did, I kind of like landed and fell to the side, and then just because I think I was a bit scared and I like twisted a bit too soon instead of like riding it up and then twisting. And then I was just like, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Damn. And how old were you when this happened?
Oh, God, I don't know. Barclaycard I was 16 years old.
Okay.
16.
No
probably
way.
15 or 16.
15 or 16 years old.
Yeah.
And who were you training with at this point out there?
In Blackburn, no one. Just Cord and a few of the locals. But I was fortunate to live close to Illabaka.
Okay.
And the first person I ever trained with, aside from like the local guys like Renault and Rhodes and Cord, that's how I kind of came across Parkour and Freerunning. I saw those guys in my local park just across the street. First people we ever trained with was Illabaka. Within 6 months of me training, we went to Illabaka's for like a weekend, ended up staying for like 2 weeks, I think.
No way.
He took us on the Methodist church.
All the spots.
This guy was just walking along the roof, and this roof is 40 feet high, and it's just like this.
Yeah.
So, and he's just walking along the top, and if you fall off the edge of the roof. Yeah. There's no
safety.
There's no safety. There's nothing to hold on to, and it's like a slate roof as well, so it's messed up. He was just walking backwards. Come on, mate, let's go. Me and Corda just like shimmying along,
sitting on your butt.
Yeah. And then fast forward a year later, we're doing the same thing to other people, you know. But it was cool that he was kind of like our mentor early on. We would go up, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times a year, you know, to Illabacas and just stay for a week, you know.
That's
along
crazy.
with other people, and you know that's how we met like Philly D and Tim and all the guys.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Especially to come in contact with someone like him at such a early stage of your career.
Yeah.
It really defines you as opposed to people that kind of like train on their own and they're almost like the best in their own home gym or city. Yeah. I see that a lot of times where like, you know, there's some guys that are like maybe the best in their own city or hometown. And it's just because they aren't exposed to other people that they don't really get to grow as much.
Yeah.
You know? So like to be able to see Illabacas 6 months into your career and to basically see like at the time, like, the goddamn Michael Jordan of our sport.
Well, he's doing everything. The biggest, the hardest stuff, and it was cool to see that and witness that. See his... I feel the best thing I learned from him was his mentality, his mindset, you know? How to, like, overcome fear, what fear was and how to battle it, and just... And then using that and putting it into physical challenges, you know?
Did you ever see him scared when you were doing things, or no? It just always seemed confident in his stuff?
That's a good question. I don't think so. Because I feel like he's like me in the area, like, if I'm too scared to do something, I just won't do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really get scared. I get scared more so on, like, I don't know, like a big stunt or something. They'll be like, I don't really know what's going to happen here, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to something that is fully in my control, you know? Because I feel like I believe in my own abilities so much that I'm like, I'm either going to do this and succeed, or I'm just not going to try it because I don't think I can do it, you know?
Totally. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's just a different mindset that we've always thought about, the difference between people in America and people in Europe.
Really?
Yeah, and I think, though, that it comes down to a lot of things, which is, one, just the architecture in general. Like, even when you've come out here, you've seen that we don't really have rooftops that necessarily cater to, like, doing the missions you guys used to do for fun.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff you guys used to do for fun that you tell me about, I'm like, that's considered a terrorist activity in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
There's a whole mission in Cambridge where you start at like one end of the town center and you climb up this building, and then you can get to the other side, maybe like, and I might be butchering this, but maybe like a mile or two, like out. You can get that far on roofs, just climbing on roofs, climbing up a crane, and then across a shopping center, and it's just this glass shopping center, and you're climbing on top of that, and then it leads to another building, to like dormitories and stuff. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
And I know that you've even told me there's some missions you guys used to do while the factories are open.
Oh, in Blackburn, yeah. Yeah. That's a real, like, Metal Gear Solid
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, like actually busting missions, trying to make your way through factories while the workers are below you guys.
And just trying to not get caught, yeah.
And you guys ever get caught?
Certain missions, but that one, no, never.
No way.
But it makes it more fun when there's people around, you know?
So when you're doing these missions out here, are you even thinking about getting caught? Are you even thinking about the consequences? Or are you just so focused on trying to not die that that's why you hone in so much and overcome fear? Because it's like...
I haven't really done a lot of missions out here. More so in England.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And then to answer your question, was I scared of getting caught? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't really even cross my mind. We're never in like that bad of a place, you know? I mean, I guess I've done some ones where I'm like on a bank roof and stuff, and
that's what I'm saying.
A courthouse, but
do that in America, even being light skinned, and you may have some problems.
Yeah, but here, like, I wouldn't do that. It's a bit more, it's a bit sketchy.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna ask this, and either you can start telling the story, or you can just brush over really quick, and that's how I know we're not going to talk about it. What's the craziest thing you've ever climbed?
Oh, well, that's easy. The pyramids of Egypt was definitely the gnarliest.
Are you able to talk about that?
I don't know. I don't care.
All right, yeah. So for those of you out there, like, Ben told me he was going to Egypt. You went with Tim, right?
Tim
Livewire Sheaf.
Marwan, yeah. He was like a guide. One of Tim's friends, Egyptian guy, lives in London. His uncle lives in Egypt, so he was kind of like our middleman there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I had seen, like, there's like pictures of you guys out there, like, on camels. I think you guys were, like, riding around and stuff. But then you were like, dude, you won't believe this. And you basically told me about this one night when you guys decided to camp out overnight, essentially, with the help of a guide. So what happened exactly?
Well, we spent... we went there we went with Giles as well. Okay. We were filming I think it was like a Flow TV or some Flow, a little documentary in Egypt. And we went out there, 4 of us from England, and then met a bunch of the locals out there, just to film a little documentary for Flow. And, we're visiting all the spots, and obviously we go to the pyramids, and we go one day, and we climb around on the base and get kicked off real fast. And while we're there, I think we're there for like a week, maybe a week and a half, we're asking people if they know anyone that can help us climb the pyramids. Because that's like the biggest thing, that we kind of went there to do that. Obviously, we saw the other spots and stuff and filmed some content. But that was our goal, to climb the pyramids.
Yeah.
So on I think it was our last night or our second to last night, one of the locals there knew somebody. It was like this kid who's like great-great-granddad used to like... I heard that he had like the fastest time running up and down it back in the day when it wasn't like a huge tourist thing.
Yeah, because this has been done by other people, even recently by other tourists. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got up there and there's so many names carved into the pyramids, like hundreds of thousands of people.
It's just now though it's heavily guarded and security is around.
Exactly. Yeah. There's guards with guns and it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So we found that kid who was a kid. He was like, I don't know, 14, 16 or something. We were letting this kid lead us into this place. And then this other guy who was an illegal treasure hunter. And
that's the guy you told me about.
Yeah, because supposedly in Egypt, like 70% of the treasure is still unfound or something. That's what I heard.
So bump this over more.
So there's like a there's like a black market for treasure. Yeah. So it was him, the illegal treasure hunter, and this little kid, basically leading us there. So we camped out at this like souvenir shop that one of the dudes owns, and you walk into the shop and it's just thousands of just like little pyramid statues,
of course, that you just buy
the cat or whatever it is that's like the warehouse where they keep it. They ship it out to the tourist places, So we stayed there until like 2:00 in the morning. Woke up, got a briefing from this little kid, which he spoke Egyptian. I didn't know what he was saying. All dressed in black. And we just walked along the gate, and then one part of the gate, there's like 20 feet up, there's like a little hole that you can just climb through. So we climbed up the gate, climbed through the hole, and just started our mission. And from that gate, it's probably like half a mile to the pyramids.
Okay.
So you got to walk through.
And is this at night when this is happening? Or
what? Yeah.
Okay, so this is
3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so set the stage. This is at pitch black, overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Complete darkness. There's cameras around the
this guy looking at details like that.
Well, yeah, complete darkness. Cameras everywhere, and we don't really know what to expect, because we're just walking. It's like very hilly, and then there's like drops, and there's walls, and
you're not trying to shine flashlights to bring attention to yourself.
And we had one camera, and we like covered up the red dot and everything, So we're just walking and trying to be careful, just keeping our eyes out. And we get to this one spot where in the distance I see I have everyone stop, and I see just a pack of wild dogs just in the distance. I just see the silhouette walking, and then they stop. It looks like I feel like they smelled us or something. And then they started like walking towards us and kind of like went down into this ditch, and we lost them. I was tripping out. I had nothing. I didn't have a knife or anything.
Exactly.
I was like, fuck.
These are wild dogs.
I don't want to fight some wild dogs right now. That would be not good. So we're just chilling there for a little bit, keeping an eye out. And then we see them about 30 feet kind of up on this big rock. And they're just looking at us, and I think they were just curious, and then they left. But that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
And then when we get closer, like kind of like around the pyramids, there's like more walls and like tombs and stuff that you can kind of like hide behind, or like there's like entrances to like tombs underground, which are all blocked off. And we get to this massive wall, and we like look around it, and there's just a guard patrolling with a gun, like a rifle with a flashlight. And we're just like, fuck, how do we get past this?
Yeah,
it's a dude with a gun, like, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And I think someone made a noise, and right then, we're this wall's kind of like 10 feet or something, but we're kind of like looking around it or something, and it's really wide. And the flashlight just shines right over us.
No way.
Yeah, so that tripped us out. So that kind of held us back for a little bit. I think we stayed there for about an hour. Just like camping out, just be like, this guy's got to leave sometime, or go back to his post, or take a nap, or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, you guys are pretty committed at this point.
But we're really close. We can see it. It's probably like 200 meters. But from this wall to the pyramid is just openness.
No
It's
way.
just complete flat ground all around this pyramid. So we just wait for a good time, and then the guys are like, okay, now. So they, like, one at a time, we just crawl to the side, to the pyramid, and just one at a time, we're just fucking crawling, and we all get there. And then right when we get there, I think me and Tim were like, we wanted to be the last ones. I don't know why we were at the bottom, having everyone go at first.
Yeah.
I think because we knew we could just blast up it if we needed to. So, and right off the bat, we got like maybe like 5 steps, and these blocks are kind of like,
they're really steep.
They're like
right?
waist high, so you're stepping up really high every time. So it's like massive steps, you know, huge steps, and we get like 5 steps up, and some dude like rolls his ankle or something.
No
like,
way.
Pretty bad, yeah. So we have to like help him up, and halfway up there, I think adrenaline kicks in, and
yeah,
he's all right. But yeah, I mean, after that, we get to the top. You know, we're above the clouds. It's cool.
Shit,
You know, there's like at the top I think there's 3 of them. One's like really hard to get up. One's like still a perfect point.
Okay.
The one we went up was like, it like goes to a point and then it flattens out at the top. I think just like it's eroded, or like corrosion has kind of like messed it up over time. But it had like a wooden structure. So like on the top of it had like a wooden structure that was like a spike, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to climb up this pyramid and not climb to the very, very top of this thing. So like I climbed up the wooden structure and stood on the highest point you could possibly stand on. Yeah.
Damn, and you said your head's like above the clouds, right? Like,
oh yeah, there's a picture of me on Instagram. Me and Tim, and we're above the clouds, and you see the other pyramid in the background.
No way.
And I think you can see that one of the poles of the wooden structure too. But went up there, did a backflip, because
you have to.
You got to. And then the Egyptian guys like prayed up there.
Okay.
So we just like kind of respected that. We went down and we did what we could, and showed our respect, and because we weren't going up there to be disrespectful. We were just going up there
for the experience.
Yeah. Chance to climb the pyramid. That's amazing.
No way.
So yeah, we did it. Sun was starting to rise, so it was like, we should probably leave now, and then climb down and just ran, you know. Once we got to the bottom, we were all just running with laughter. We were just happy we climbed the pyramid and climbed back out that fence, went back to the shop. And
how long did the mission take the whole time?
Well, I think we left at like 2, and then sunrise was 5:30.
Okay.
So we were up there like 3 hours, 3.5, 4 hours maybe.
Yeah, it's a full mission.
Yeah, but when you're on the top, at a certain time, because it's a very religious country, like they all pray at the same time. So there was like an alarm, or like I forget what it was, like a horn or a bell or something, that a certain time, like let's say 5 a.m., it just rings, it sounds, and everyone wakes up. So at that time, we just heard it from like a 360 view. It was crazy.
That's cool.
It was really cool.
That's hella cool.
So yeah, we leave, get back, no problems, fly home, everything's good. A week later, put up the video, and I think like 1 or 2 days after that, I'm not sure who contacted Tim or Flo, but somebody, I think it was like some government or something, contacted that channel or Tim and said that you need to take this video down.
No way.
Yeah, like you and everyone in this video is at risk of being hurt or whatever it is, you know, and you should never return to Egypt again.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild. Because, I have seen a couple of guys that have posted it very publicly since. Like, there's been guys that have, like, fully put out articles on it and stuff. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy.
I don't think it's that bad, you know, but I think they were just doing it just to be safe.
Just to get safe, yeah.
And I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I was told, so.
That is wild. Well, you have the picture to prove it, and at least you weren't alone, so, like, the legend continues. It's crazy,
but there is a video out there somewhere. I think I actually have it.
No way.
Yeah, somewhere.
That's crazy, man. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny, though, to me, though, is that, like, the way that you approach life and all those things, like doing missions like that, I just still, like I said, I still just view you as, like, this little kid back in the days, just, like, hungry to learn things.
Yeah.
And how did you get into parkour? Because I think a lot of people, because of the high-level flips that you do, automatically assume that you did gymnastics. But you really started back doing, like, what, trampoline classes and basketball? Like...
No, I mean, the first time I ever flipped was my dad taught me when I was a kid. We would just go, there was like, where he lived down south in England, there was like this fake snowboarding kind of like place, you know, it's like a ramp that you just go and it's like a little little snowboarding place in England. And at the bottom of that was this like crazy adventure park with like in-ground trampolines, slides and everything like that. So we would just go to snowboarding during the day and then at night sneak in and he would just teach me like how to flip on the trampoline. So he was the first person to ever teach me flips. And then how I came across parkour was I was just a kid playing basketball, playing all the sports in high school, and went to my local park one day and saw Cord, Reno, Rhodes flipping off, you know, just my local park, all the structures and everything. And I was just that little kid, hey, I can do a flip, watch this, blah, blah, blah. And they were just like, get away, little kid. And then I think I went back the next day. They were like, if you're interested, come back tomorrow. We'll be over by the sandpit. And came back the next day, and ever since then, I just started training with them. I learned most of my flips on a running track on the sandpit, like the long jump sandpit.
Yep.
On the other side of that, we had like a little grass hill that led into the sandpit, and we would just...
That's where you did the J-sub double corks and stuff?
We would just dig a little hole and put one of them little circular workout trampolines in there, just the tiny, crappy ones that you get from, you know, like $20 or something. Put it there and just flip off that and, you know.
No way. Yo, Paul, try to go to the old school. Try to find like look at the gainer from 08.
Yeah, gainer.
Yeah, the first one. Do the first one. Yeah, so this is this that pit that you're talking about? This is it, right? This is the...
Gainer sampler.
I know. And that's what's so funny is like, look at this pit. And this is you. What year does that say, Paul?
Yeah.
2006. And you're here just throwing a gainer off this thing into the little sand pit.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's the running track. I learned all my corks on that hill behind it. And then...
And then, Paul, pull up the 720. Because what's crazy is this clip is in 2006 of you just doing a gainer, which looks like you're pumped on this. You literally made a sampler called Gainer Sampler off of a gainer, which is so funny to look at now. And then fast forward to, this is what, 2008 also? I think originally that was 2008 or maybe 2007. And it's the same spot. But you were the first person that I saw do this outside. I don't know. Maybe someone else did it first, but you were the first person I saw do Gainer 720 outside.
Stomped it too, yeah.
Stomped it.
Pike landing,
Oh my God. And what was the motivation behind this? Because like I said, you were one of the first people I saw do this. So was it the same thing where a 360 was easy, or were you trying to push limits? It's something I've always wanted to ask you.
Well, back then, I feel I was just trying to push my own limits, you know. Okay. We had a gymnastics gym that we would go to, and I feel I'm very just like simple-minded when it comes to this type of stuff, and like I just think very logically. Like if I can do it in a gym onto a pad, then what's the difference? I'm 5 feet higher up.
Yeah.
It should be the same. It is the same, you know. It's just fear. It's just you're just scared of, oh my God, the consequences are higher because if I do fall, or you know, I'm gonna hurt myself even more or whatever, you know. There's always that safety aspect when you're doing it into a foam pit. But I would do it into a foam pit, got it, put a pad there, got it, put a harder pad there, and then all right, now I can do this off a 5 foot ledge every time. Then doing it off a 10 foot ledge is just as easy, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
So if I could do that, I'm like, it's really a no-brainer, you know? It's just building up that confidence to do it.
And it's such a simple concept that we talk about in parkour all the time. I mean, me and you used to go do workshops around the country talking to the military about how to like eradicate fear in the moment and how it's not, you know? But yeah, clearly it's a huge thing. I mean, they had a whole show that Joe Rogan started his career on, where literally his tagline is what? Fear is not a factor for you, my friend. You know, like literally it's something that could change the way people perform in like in the moment. So
when it shouldn't, you know. I mean, the simple example we always say is, you know, you do a precision that's 6 foot on the ground, and you can do it every time, but then go 100 feet up. Will you still do that precision? Like, you could do that every single time. Yeah. But like, you're thinking, oh shit, if I miss this, I'm gonna fall. But I don't really think that, because there's no way that I would ever really fail that, you know, unless something drastic happens. But you just have to concentrate and just make sure you don't do something stupid. But that's kind of the example that I follow.
And it makes the most sense, and it's such a logical thing to talk about. But obviously, you can only overcome that through practice and years of experience. And like taking.
And some people think more about it, and some people don't. You know. Yeah. I'm glad I have a strong mind, and that's not really a thought process for me. You know?
Totally. Over the years, I've seen you do a bunch of different things where obviously whoever's first in the world is always up for debate, except for a couple different moves. Yeah. I do think you're the first one I ever saw do wall 720. Don't think many people debate that. There are a couple moves I've seen you do that I think I saw you do first, but like they may have been put out there in the world in other videos that were more popular. Yeah. Jenks flip.
What is that?
This guy doesn't even remember his own flips, man.
Is that the front the?
It's the Raiden nowadays, right?
Oh, the Raiden.
Yeah, it's the Raiden nowadays, but like.
Yeah, but it doesnn't count. It's on a trampoline.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but like it's really funny to watch these clips of you, and then handstand backflip.
Handstand backflip.
Yeah. I don't know. There probably was some other people throwing them at the time, but like. This was one of the first things that I saw was you throwing this in the garden there.
Yeah, does it count though? That's off I got arrested one time actually. Keep this video up, Paul. Because this is right across the street from my house, and I got arrested one time because a few of my friends were on the roof of the bigger structure. Okay. And we were trying to build a zipline to that electric box. Over some barbed wire, which is stupid. I think we had like a grappling hook and some rope or something, and we were like, let's try and do something. Like, I don't know. We'd be stupid.
What's already funny to me is, what the hell are these mats on the ground?
So that's the inside of a crash pad. Okay. Yeah, and like it's kind of, imagine 2 of them together. It's like, it's really long. It's kind of really hard to carry. So we just took the shell out of it, and I think it was like ripped. So we're like, let's just get rid of the blue outer shell and just keep these. They're easy to transport, and dude, they were sick. I jumped off my house and landed on those.
I remember you did that one to the concrete. I was like, holy crap. Well, all right, with the exception to this, there was one last move that I know is not up for debate, and I was actually there, and it was super crazy, which is a wall double backflip. And the funny thing about this is, like, we don't even actually have the real clip, because you never really made a point to release this one. You kind of were like, I don't really care. Do I have the real clip? Yeah, I mean, this is the real clip, but we never really put out the whole thing. We just put it out as like a teaser for a workshop we were doing.
Oh, did we?
Yeah,
where
but
it cuts the
and then it cuts off right at the landing. But I'll never forget that, man, because like Paul, go to the first one, the inside one. So yeah, I'll never forget this. We were at White Lotus one day. Open gym was ending, and I was like, "Yo, man, when are you gonna do wall double backflip?" And you were like, I don't know why that day you finally tried it. I don't know why. Yeah. And Robbie was there. Robbie Corbett spotting you on the mat. Yeah. And
but it doesn't count. It's on a cheese block with a pad thrown in.
Understood. But this was what, 2010 maybe. But then fast forward, go to the second one. So you can maybe say that one doesn't count, but you have to count this one, which is Camp Woodward outside with shoes on, 1 step wall double backflip.
Yeah, I mean, I would count it, but I would also say that it is a bit of a slanted wall.
Like the incline wall?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a slant, but it's not. But it's a solid. Yeah, it's as close as you can really get, you know. And the panel mat was it was like a really like rough like surface. Yeah. I didn't want to because a few of them I kind of landed and fell on my knees. But it's pretty much, the panel mat isn't really giving me anything.
And see, what's crazy is you're over here saying you may not count it, but I don't think anyone else, Paul, do you count it? I count it.
No, I kind of count it. I kind of count it, yeah.
So what's crazy to me, though, is we've seen that move done by other people over the years, but it's always been two-step.
Yeah.
It's never one step. It's always two-step to get that extra height.
Yeah.
What made you think that you could do it off of one step?
I don't know. I don't think I wanted that extra height. Like,
that is kind of funny. A lot of people may not know this. I know this because Ben's one of my best friends, but I know you don't like doing roundoff double back. In fact, you're pretty shit at roundoff double backs, to be honest.
Thanks, Trev. Yeah, I am. There's a video of me,
right?
Philly D, and Marvin Ross.
Okay.
Doing roundoff double backs in New York at like 5 stars.
I've always just known that about you. For some reason, that's the only time you don't really like.
I've just
block
never been
high.
good. Yeah, I've never been good at.
You almost just like rip them better off standing objects. Like I remember even back to when you're like a little 14-year-old at South Bank doing little standing dubs.
Yeah.
But yeah, roundoff double back's never been your move. So like
none of those.
That's crazy, though, that you didn't like the height, and that's funny, the equation.
I don't think it's there.
That's really wild, man. So, obviously, parkour has been a huge part of your life in some regards, and that's kind of how we got to meet each other. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is how parkour really, at one point, was just something you did in your backyard, your back garden. You got a little bit of notoriety between the community, but it was just like YouTube fame. You were still at one point.
Well, not even though. Like I was.
And this
so
is before
early days
YouTube,
of YouTube, but like also I wasn't putting out videos. You know, I would put out just crappy little videos that I didn't even film, and other people edited. Like I really didn't care about.
And what were you doing for work at that time? You were just teaching.
God, when I was younger, I would do like little like live shows here and there. This was before WFPF, so like live shows here and there, and I don't know, I was a kid, I didn't really need money. I lived with my parents, I didn't have a car, I just had a bike. Yeah, you don't really need money at that age. I'd work in a kebab shop on the weekends, but aside from that was it.
Just training, playing video games.
School and parkour, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And then fast forward to 2000 and is it 2009 when we flew to New York? I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cause
it's got to be.
2008 was Barclaycard. That's when I got signed by WFPF.
So 2009.
I imagine the next year. Yeah.
So in 2009, I get flown to New York. We stayed in New Jersey, but we get flown to New York City. Myself, you, and Phil. Phil Doyle.
Were we doing the Equinox?
Yeah, was it Phil at the first one or no? Or was it just me and you?
Me and you in the video, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Ryan Doyle.
Probably Ryan Doyle.
It was Ryan Doyle. It was myself, you, and Ryan Doyle got flown to New York. And long story short, we got to do a cool 1 week at Equinox Fitness, the main one by Central Park, and we were teaching normal people how to do parkour and stuff. But more important than that was that was the first time that we actually met. And I remember being like, man, who the fuck are these crazy dudes, right? Yeah, I know. Look at this. Guys. Look at this video, right? All the way back in the days, man. And this is the first session we ever had, but it's so funny, man. So long story short, we did this thing in New York. We did a week long. We kind of kept in touch, and we went our separate ways. And then I would say maybe a year later, we get brought back for MTV's Ultimate Parkour Challenge.
Was that? Did I not do a class with Oleg?
You did workshops and stuff like that, but I mean
time?
Yeah, you did a workshop where you visited, but I think the first time where you came to America and you were here for a long time was MTV's Ultimate Parkour Challenge. Yeah. Because it's almost from there that we kind of all knew each other and got closer. Because to be fair, before that show happened, so for those of you that are of the new generation of parkour. There was a TV show a long time ago that we did called MTV's Ultimate Parkour Challenge. And it was on MTV. It was hosted by myself and Andy Bell from Nitro Circus. Yeah. And, man, I'm not going to lie. Looking back, that show was really cool. I think we were too early. We were, ahead of our time. And
I think the whole show was too early, and everyone.
You guys weren't ready.
Yeah. I mean, I was a kid.
The contestants that were on it just weren't ready in the sense that like you said, you've just been training your whole life, living in Blackburn, and then all of a sudden we're getting thrown onto a gigantic platform where you're having to do stuff on command over the course of a week, even when you're tired. But not only that, our show was filmed live. We filmed a TV show live on TV, including the interviews and stuff. And I know that was like really intimidating for some of the guys.
Yeah. I think it was just too early for most of us, you know. I think Ryan Doyle handled it well, but he was older, you know. Most of us there were the younger guys, you know. It
was such a cool concept, man, because for those of you that haven't seen it, try to look it up online. There's like old videos. You can check out the episodes. I think so. To me, what's cool is that the people that were involved at the time, there was Daniel Labaka's on the show. You have Oleg Vorslav. You have Tim Livewire-Sheaf. You have yourself.
Pip was on it.
You have Pip Anderson. You have David. Ryan Doyle.
Yeah.
You have King David. Daniel Arroyo.
Yeah.
Michael Turner was also on the show. Are we forgetting anybody? I don't want to be an asshole.
We are, yeah.
I feel like I think that was the majority of everyone.
Brian Roscoe.
No.
He was on the pilot, right?
Yeah.
On the pilot.
Yeah.
I didn't do the pilot.
Yeah, I know you didn't do the pilot.
I was supposed to do the pilot, and I got a call the night before I was flying out, and I was like, had my bags packed and everything, and Victor called me and was like, you're not allowed to come. You're 17 and MTV won't insure you or something like that. So I was bummed out about that. But
that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
The MTV show was cool though, man. Like I really, looking back, like I wish that show existed in this day and age. I feel like it'd be a different time, and I feel like the world is ready for something like that right now.
Yeah, I feel Ninja Warrior is kind of close, but it's also different, you know.
I mean, we had a straight up parkour show. We had a show on MTV where each week you do a parkour video, and then at the end there was a parkour speed course or a skills challenge.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. I think with the exception of that show, the only other shows that have come out are Jump City.
Oh yeah.
Jump City came out shortly thereafter. And it's kind of funny that like nothing has really respawned. I know they have a cool show that is coming out pretty soon that's not parkour, but it's related to stuff.
So, they were filming it when I was filming Birds of Prey.
Yeah. So
the next stage over. It looked cool.
Yeah, so we won't ruin that, but I know Corey DeMeyers has been involved in a new project coming out that he was a consultant on, and I'm sure for those of you really that are keen in the parkour community, you already know what we're kind of talking about because there were some key players flown over to America to work on a show. It's a very successful YouTube series. It's a really genius concept, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I guess what's cool about MTV was the point at which you and I and everyone really like became friends because like we were stuck together for like 6 to 8 weeks. And I remember after that, at that point, you were still just going back home. You would take trips back home, and then you would come visit me every so often. And it was almost funny. It was like this weird thing where every time you would book a flight to visit me, I would get booked on a movie to leave town.
Yeah.
It's like this whole like curse thing that like you kind of joke about. Even like nowadays people say like, hey, if you want work, book a trip because you'll inherently get a call. For this, every time Ben would plan to come visit me, we'd set up your trip, and then I would get called to a movie. And I'd be like, well, I guess you're going to stay in my bed for like 2 or 3 months.
Look after Kicks.
Look after the dog and stuff. But at what point did you finally decide, like, okay, like, I want to pursue stunts, and I want to pursue a career over here?
Well, it's kind of harder than that. Being English and not being a citizen here, you got to get like a visa and a green card. So I was going through that visa process. And I think just after the first time being in LA, it's the complete opposite to England and Blackburn especially, you know. It's always sunny. There's lots of stuff to do. There's a beach, you know.
Yeah. It doesn't rain that often. Yeah.
Rains 10 days out of the year maybe. So much opportunity out here, you know. And that drew me in ever since the first time I came here. I knew I wanted to live here. It was just getting the funds to do so, getting a visa, getting a green card, being able to actually work here, you know. And just setting up establishing myself as what I wanted to be so I could get work, you know. But you know, I think I did like 3 years of traveling back and forth, and then what was a really big thing was I booked a Nike commercial.
Yes.
And I made a bit of cash that I could sit on for a little bit and kind
of a lot of cash.
Move here. And kind of use that as a little backup plan, a little rainy day fund, just in case anything happened. So I did that. So I got myself a visa and moved what was I living in your guest? Was it the guest house?
Yeah,
or was it this room? Or
no, I think it was. I don't know. Yeah, funny enough, for those of you out there, we're currently in Ben's old bedroom. Yeah. Which was also at one point Anish Sherfa's bedroom.
Yeah.
This was like
so many people have lived
this
in
is a
house,
movement household. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a movement house.
Yeah.
Okay, so then yes, you did that and you finally moved out here. And like just really quick, like you don't have to touch on it like really in full details. But for a kid that's like over in England right now, what is the process of like trying to get over here? What do you exactly need to obtain?
Well, it's hard first. I mean, ultimately you need a green card, but to get a green card, you have to have a visa first.
Okay.
And it helps if, like, I had a O1 visa. At first I had a P1 visa for the MTV show, which lasted 3 years, and then an O1 visa. But visas get tricky. You know, you can only work on certain things. So ultimately what you want is a green card. But it's just hard to get. It costs a lot of money. It's hard to get. You have to have worked here, have shown the US that you can make money here so that they can allow you to have one, you know?
Yeah.
I was just fortunate enough that on my green card, on my visas, I worked a bunch, you know? I did live shows for big companies. I worked for, you know, I worked on big shows for big companies, and kind of just stacked my resume. And it just worked out well, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, that's super cool. I remember there was one time that we even like worked on a show and you didn't have a visa, and we were both like, how the hell did this go through? And I'll still never know to this day, Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, yeah. Was I not on a visa, though?
I don't think so. I feel like you came to just like visit me that week or something. And then like Scott a job came up. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to work on this? I was like, yeah, sure.
I'm like, yeah, just have this guy front flip off the balcony and we'll start the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, yeah.
I remember that job.
Yeah, I do too. So the visa situation worked out. You move over to America and you started to pursue stunts now. Mm-hmm. So this is where things kind of get interesting because very early on, like I had like somewhat of a help in your career, like in trying to work on certain jobs. I'd always try to pass you. I know like we worked on Call of Duty together. We got to work on Jungle Book together. We got to do an Arco commercial together. Like a lot, right? Like a lot of the early jobs we got to do together. We even did a J-Lo music video in Mexico, which was a crazy job.
That was one of the best jobs.
It's probably insane.
Yeah.
Looking back, yeah, we traveled to a lot of places. It's probably one of the best jobs I've done.
Yeah, that was fun. And the whole mix-up with who was doubling who.
And that's a really funny story because, long story short, we got contacted to do a Jennifer Lopez video with Wasim and Yandel, who are like a very popular duo, and they're artists down there. And
Jennifer Lopez.
They wanted, and Jennifer Lopez. Yeah. And they wanted a parkour video where they're all just going to be running through the city because the song is called Follow the Leader. You could probably find that, Paul. It's called like Follow the Leader. Long story short, I needed parkour guys, but I kept telling them, like, if you guys really want to do something dope, we need to fly guys in from the UK.
Yeah.
And they were like, why? And I showed them some videos at a meeting, and they were like, oh, no crap. Fortunately, at the time, our friend Bo Casper Smart was dating J-Lo.
Yeah.
He pitched the concept with her, too, and got on board to somehow fly you guys over. So we had a music video where they flew you, Philly D, and Pip Anderson over to Mexico.
Did they fly us from England, or was I already here?
I don't know, but they flew the other guys for sure. Because, like, the other guys for sure. And then we got to bring a couple of local guys like King David, Solomon Brendy, Kane Sinclair. But what was crazy that Ben's talking about is we landed in Mexico, and I originally had Ben doubling a guy. I had Pip doubling a different guy.
You had Pip doubling.
I had Phil almost considered to double someone too. I almost thought about Phil doubling.
Yeah.
We show up to this job, and for some reason, one of the guys looks identical to Pip, and the other guy looks identical to you, so to speak.
And what happened was Philly D tried to do that height drop off like a 20-foot
Bro, I totally forgot
roof.
about that.
And like right before the shoot, just completely messed up his foot, like bruised his heel or just completely messed up his foot where he couldn't really do anything, you know?
We were on a rehearsal day, and we were at a location where there was like a 2.5, maybe 3-story drop.
Yeah.
And
you did it to the pad, right?
He did it to the pads, and he did it because everyone else was like, "That looks a little sketch," and he's like,
"Nah, I can drop off this.
I got
not
this.
Roll." Yeah.
So he goes up to the top, drops down without checking to see how good the pads are, and they weren't the best pads. And my man,
it was that.
It's this rooftop. My man jumps like 2.5 stories
from where Solomon jumps.
and just straight heel bruises himself.
So then we swapped doubles. Yeah. I doubled, what was it, Weesin?
Yeah.
And Pip doubled Yandel. It worked out great, though. And then that was me doing...
It worked out incredible. And it was just funny, the whole shoot, Philly D trying to do these insane stride missions on one foot the whole time. But I think what stuck out to me even crazier that made that job so unique
Josh Yaden was there, too.
Holy crap, Josh Yaden, too. What I think was so crazy was on that job, which I've never experienced on any other job, when we walked around in the city to go location to location, we were literally escorted by armed guards with full assault rifles.
Yeah.
When we went in cars, we were put into cars with police escorts that were in front of us and back with sirens going off. They told us our car could sustain an RPG hit if it were to get hit by an RPG. And I was like, man, I don't really want all this attention. Like, isn't it better for us to blend in?
Guys,
but I'm like, man, this should be better for us to just blend in and not even worry about this stuff. It's so crazy to look back on.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that, like, at this point, you didn't even really have an understanding of stunts. So what was the first real stunt job that kind of segued from parkour stuff into actual stunt stuff?
The first job I ever did was Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
No way.
Yeah, where I had to double one of the circus guys. So they couldn't have the circus people do the stuff for liability reasons or something, which was very strange because they're far better at circus stuff than we are. But basically, we just had to be the guys on the podium, and as like Paul Blart was like swinging around the whole, because he like interrupts a Cirque du Soleil show.
Yeah.
And while he's getting chased by the bad guy, and he ends up on this rig where he's swinging around the whole thing, and he's knocking everybody off like into the water. So we basically did that. I had to completely shave my head, completely bald, and it was that was crazy. But it was the first job I ever did.
And how did you get that? Who was out there with you?
It was Corey DeMeyers, Gabe, a few of the Tempest guys.
Okay.
Scott Rogers was running it.
Cool. Okay, that makes sense.
I think it was like 3 weeks in Vegas or something.
Okay.
But that was the first one, and then shortly after that was Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Was everyone in this room.
Everyone in this room.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jungle Book, man.
Yeah.
That was a crazy one. And then from there, it's just kind of just, for lack of a better term, just been spitballing and just rolling and rolling and rolling from there, man.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky to... I mean, and you were a massive help in everything, you know? Meeting people, having me meet certain people, certain coordinators... just putting me in front of the right people, you know?
Yeah, but if you weren't skilled, they wouldn't hire you. So it's like, you know...
I feel that, you know, it's a bit of both. But, you know, a lot of this industry is who you know.
Yeah.
I think everyone who is in the industry will agree with that.
Totally. Where's the... what's the coolest thing you've gotten to do? Because I've gotten to do some cool things with you. I've had you in Mexico on jail. I've had you flip off a rooftop that was like 30 feet where the whole time I was worried. And then you look at me and go... Can I gainer it? I'm like, fuck no, you're not allowed to. I've driven a car at you. We've driven a Ferrari at you and had you side flip over.
That was cool. Yeah.
So what in your mind though? What sticks out in your mind is like the favorite stunt you've done?
Favorite stunt I've done. The car flip was fun. What was that for? I did it LifeProof commercial, and I also did it out in Dubai for a little short film for SOH.
Yeah, Marriott Hotels.
Yep. So that was fun. That was kind of scary. Just never done that before.
Yeah.
You know? Well, up until the first time. Fast and Furious was good. That was a fun one. A lot of pressure. One of the biggest budget movies in history at the time, and me and Cal McLean were doubling Jason Statham, and we had a few like I had a few intricate like parkour things to do. That I wasn't quite sure that could work, but it ended up working, you know. So the pressure to deliver when a lot of people are watching is pretty crazy.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because in that thing, like the scene you're alluding to is the jail scene, where like you do a kind of a little run through. There's a part where you do a reverse fall off the top. Yeah. You do like did you do dash bomb off a guy's shoulders, or did you cut that part?
Yeah,
dash roll.
It was like a dash roll.
You do like tic tac 270 off the fence. Yeah. And for those that are out there, like, you're someone that clearly has done parkour at such a high level. I remember talking to you, though, and you being like, man, the reverse fall's kind of sketch. And, like, what makes it different on set than being outside? Is it just, like, the confined parameters, having to hit it on command? Like,
Well, I think this is where like the good performers strive, you know,
Yes.
because when you're rehearsing, you're in your own clothes, your own shoes, you know, you're padded up for whatever you like, you're comfortable, you have time, there's not a lot of pressure, there's 10 people in the room just watching, and you have unlimited takes really of what you can do. But it's hard when you're on set, the director, all the stars, the whole crew of 200 people, plus your boss, the stunt team.
Yeah.
Everyone is watching you to do this one stunt. And you don't want to fuck up,
Yeah.
you know? If you fuck up, you could hurt somebody else, or you could hurt yourself, you know? Plus, the wardrobe that you're in is crazy. You practice in sweats and a t-shirt, yet you're in, like, for the MTV thing, I had to do an episode in metal cowboy boots with like really tight stuff with like a fake gun and a cowboy hat, like, you know, doing like adding that to...
I know there's been a job where you had to front flip in full football gear and helmet. And pads.
Full helmet. Yeah, that was with Velu for a live show. You know, doing everything in prosthetics. I had to flip over the Lamborghini in Dubai with a crazy mask on and some crazy suit with a cape. Like, everything just adds to the difficulty, you know? Like, something could be very easy in your normal, comfortable state, but you add like in the scene, maybe the guy that you're doubling that is like just got shot in the leg and you have to hobble and still do this thing, or whatever it is, whatever the situation is, you know, what you're wearing, the situation of the scene, like anything, you know, and that just makes everything 10 times harder. And for what you're talking about, the reverse vault down, you know, I'm not very high up, but
it's still decent. It's like 8-10 feet, you know.
I was a little bit more from the rail.
Okay.
I think it's like 12 to 15
So that's
feet,
high then, yeah.
Which is kind of high, but not crazy high, but it's still kind of high. But you have to land in a tiny gap, which is like maybe 6 feet, and then there's a rail with a 20-foot drop there, and like a jail cell there, and you have to land and continue the scene, and, you know, it's sketchy sometimes, you know, or sometimes there's a camera guy right there and you can't hit the camera guy, you know. So there's a lot that goes into it that you don't necessarily see, which makes things a lot harder, you know.
And so when you're in the moment right there, what do you concentrate on? Are you concentrating on like avoiding the external variables that can mess you up, or are you just focused solely on performing your task so well that there's no room for error, you know?
I think again, I just keep with my same mindset, you know. Every time I do it, I'm gonna land there anyway, you know. Like, if I just do it right, if I do what I need to do right, nothing bad is gonna go wrong, you know. Maybe I'll like on the ones where I'm like tic-tacking off people and then over the guards. Yeah. Like, there was some times where, like, because everyone's moving, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, you know. There's some times where like my run-up was wrong and I just ran back and did it again, you know. But that's like not very risky, you know. If I fall, I'll just hold on to the fence or something. But just focus, keep your mind clear, focus on what you have to do, and if there are things that are variables, you know what they are, and just, I don't know, keep it simple. I try and just keep things very simple.
100%. Have you ever had a moment on set where you've had any, like, for lack of a better term, sense of nervousness, or do you think that all of the years of parkour training has literally helped to the point where you're able to just like quiet that fear down?
I mean, there was one, I did a movie for I did a movie called Why Him, where I was doubling James Franco, and there was a stunt in there where I'm inside this huge glass fish tank, basically, and I fall in and I'm in it, and in the movie it cracks and I basically fall out, and it's huge, you know, so many hundreds of I don't even know how many gallons, but lots, you know. This fish tank is massive. It's probably from there to the side of this room, this wide. It's huge, and with like a 400 to 600 pound fake buffalo sitting behind me, you know, so like it's coming out after, and I just got to crash into this living room, you know, and it's real glass. It's just everything is thingy, and they detonate and blow the top corners, and I fall through, and just got to protect my face and make sure I don't get glass in my eyes or get cut open or anything. And that was scary because I don't know what's going to happen, you know? Yeah. Like, I feel the things that are the scariest is where you're like, I'm just along for the ride and I could get fucked up, or this could be great. Could go very smoothly, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like when you're in control of yourself and you're the only variable, it's cool. It's just the external variables.
I'm comfortable when it's me in control, because like for the Lamborghini or the Ferrari flip, it was fine, you know? I was just made sure that the driver went at a constant speed. Don't go faster or slower. Go at the speed. That's your only job, yeah? So, and then everything else is up to me. And I don't know. I was never really scared at that point, and I work my way up and I get closer to the middle or whatever it is that you do to progress to that final level. But ultimately, when I'm in control, I don't really get scared. It's when you're just completely not in control, you're along for the ride, that's kind of a little bit scary. But it was also fun. You know?
Yeah, totally. Which sadly is like a huge part of our industry. There are many times where we have to just go for the ride.
That's why you got to trust the people that you're working with.
Totally.
And ultimately, I would never do something where I'm like, I'm going to get really fucked up. Like, I just wouldn't do it, you know?
You would just respectfully
I would just be like, well, I feel we would talk or whatever, but that has never happened yet, you know? I was fine. You know what's going to happen with the fish tank thing, you know? You're going to fly out. It was just like, am I going to get sliced up by glass or not? And I got up and I looked at my hands, and I was wearing like a double layer. I was wearing like a wetsuit, with wetsuit gloves, and then like a nude color glove over it.
Okay.
And that was sliced up. It was crazy. And I was looking down, and then just a drop of blood from my face just like kind of like went onto my hand. I was like, oh shit, am I bleeding? Like, and basically I did like a big gash in my nose.
Yeah.
From when the glass like came down and just sliced my nose. But aside from that, all good. Yeah.
That's not too bad, man.
That's not bad.
You're still pretty good. Knock on that wood, dog. I've had some unfortunate trips where you look up and you're like, oh, I'm in an ambulance.
Yeah.
Those have always been crappy.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if I told you this story. Did I tell you about when I was in the ambulance once and they transferred ambulances?
No.
I'll never forget this because unfortunately I have a few ambulance stories, but there was one time where I was on set, got rushed to the hospital from a crazy head injury, and they put me in the ambulance. We leave set, we're driving on the roads, and all of a sudden I feel it slow down and pull over. I'm like, whoa, why are they stopping here? Like we drove for like maybe a few minutes, and then I see the doors open. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, we're actually not allowed to leave set by this distance. So we have to wait for another ambulance to come to put you in so that they can actually take you to the hospital. And I'm sitting here like, I'm bleeding out, man.
Because they have no other ambulance on set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'll never forget that.
You would think you'd be a priority at that point.
What is happening? My head is bleeding out, you know? Yeah. But yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy to think about, man. Yeah. Those are those little stories that they keep this job interesting.
It is an exciting job. I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Not at all, man. It's one of the best jobs in the world because I could not sit behind a desk, and it's allowed me to pursue so many things.
Yeah. And keep our passion as well, you know? Like, you can keep your passion of martial arts, keep my passion of parkour and movement and physical challenges. And if you work with good people, it's a fun time, you know?
Yeah.
You're creating legendary stuff, you know? Like, when you do it, like, on set, it's just cool, you know? Sometimes, like, you've never done whatever it is, whether it's a crazy car stunt or whether it's a certain wire gag or whatever it is, you know? You're pushing the boundaries, you're pushing the limits, and it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's that famous quote that everyone talks about, which is film lives forever, which is obviously super true. And it's not to downplay anybody out there in the world or other friends of mine, but, like, I have friends of mine that work a job, you know? Let's say they're an accountant. It's cool. They maybe like had the dopest tax season of the year or like gotten their client the biggest refund ever or like something like that happened. But it's hard to show for it. Whereas like 10 years from now, like I'm going to be able to show future generations like, look what I did for this year of my life.
Yeah.
This is what we did, you know, like take a look at that. And it's probably one of the coolest things out there.
And most people wouldn't even know it, you know. You're watching a film and you see, I don't know, whatever films that we've done and they're going to be playing for the rest of our life, you know. And you could be walking or sat on an airplane. It's cool when you do that, and I recently have done that. Like you're sat on an airplane, you're sat next to someone, and they're watching a film that you're in. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know.
Yeah, that's a super.
And you don't say anything, but you're like, oh, that's me.
Yeah,
you know, it's cool.
It's always funny when things like that happen.
Yeah.
So what is your focus right now? Obviously, you're still doing stunts is concerned, but I feel like people out there would kill me if I don't ask. Are you still doing parkour? Are you still training for fun?
Yeah, I went to Tempest like 2 nights ago.
South Bay or
South Bay.
Okay.
Gym parkour, yeah.
I know.
No, I feel like I still do it in a work sense, you know. I don't train as much as I used to. And I always remember like talking to like Philly D about this. Like if I ever like don't do something because I'm scared to like hurt myself for money, like I don't know, like slap me in the face or something, you know, like, because back then I didn't do it for that, you know. I did it for myself, to get better, to push the limits, to push my own limits, and just for like a personal physical challenge, you know. That's why I did it, purely for the passion of doing that. If I could, back then, like I had multiple talks with multiple people about just doing this for the rest of my life, and I don't need money, you know. But you grow up, the world changes, and you realize that you need to make a living, you know. So what better way to make a living than doing what you love every day for the rest of your life, you know?
So how often do you think you practice parkour specifically? Like once a month?
Well, I mean, it depends on the job, depends what I'm doing, you know? But most of the time, it's a lot, you know? The past 4 movies, in fact, probably all of my movies, I've done some type of parkour.
Elements of it,
you know, whether it's just jumping to a tree or bouncing on a trampoline to a wall and then getting taken out, or scaling a bit, or I don't know, whatever, you know, whether you're in a chase for SWAT or sliding off a roof for Gemini Man or whatever it is, you know. There's always some sort of parkour in it, even for the last one, like jumping off a boat, or like jumping from like a boat to boat, or whatever it is, you know, whether it's simple or extreme, there's always some sort of element in there.
You're just not out there chasing things like, Ben Jenkin.
I'm definitely not out there trying to push my limits, you know. I feel I've done that. I set whatever bar you want to say I set. I feel I did that when I was young, when I wanted to push the limits, whether it was doing the wall 720 or doing a wall to a back, you know. Didn't do it for other people. I just did it because I thought I could do it, you know.
That's what this guy says. That's what he says. Like, I set the bar a long time ago, but this fucking guy goes to Tempest just on like random nights and will set challenges that people still can't do. Like,
salmon ladder.
Dude, pull up. Try to find these Tempest challenges, yo.
Oh yeah, the salmon ladder.
Find these challenges, bro. Guys, the reason why I want to bring these up is that like, what's funny to me is that I know that you don't get to go train that often. So when you do finally make it into the gyms, it's a very rare occasion. Yet you've set these challenges that I feel like people are still trying to do today. So this first one right here is literally, I think Corbin Reinhardt just put out that he had done it, right, the other day.
I think so.
Yeah, and he told it. He was talking about how, but his video was talking about how it took him 3.5 months to hit it.
Really?
You were there that night. Because I was there with you, and I filmed this. Or if I didn't film it, Philly did even. But
I feel that's something.
Much love, Corbin, because Corbin is a fucking animal.
He's a beast.
But that's what's crazy to me, bro, and that's why, like, I'm not here to like blow smoke up your ass, but like, you will go to the Tempest on a random night, and you'll do something like this that's such a challenge that no one's done. And I the reason I want to bring light to these is I want kids that are out there still practicing parkour to try these challenges. Here's challenge number 2, which is the gap, the front handspring.
Probably one of the proudest moments I've done in like parkour, like of challenges
and
that I've done.
And the stick was perfect.
Because ever since I went to when they were building this place, or like shortly after, I wanted to do that, and it was a good, I don't know, a few years after that I did it. But was that the same night? I forget.
I don't know if that was. It may have been.
But
I don't
you
know.
were there, right?
I filmed this. Yeah, this is me filming. This is me filming for
Josh
sure.
Yaden popping out.
And and then go to the third challenge because I filmed this one too. And I know you did this in a night.
Oh yeah, this was a different day.
Yeah, this is a totally different day. But I still haven't seen other people do this, trying to bust the salmon ladder in one rip.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people do it ever since. Yeah. But I haven't seen anyone do it in a run that starts like that.
Yeah.
So, yo, all y'all kids out there that be doing parkour and training every single day and going to Tempest every single day, I challenge you to try the Ben Jenks challenges. And they even have wristbands for some of them, right? Do they have a wristband for the front flip, front handspring one?
I'm not sure if they have. I think for the first one, because I think to do like a challenge, it has to be like three challenges in one area. So I think that's what that was.
Okay, that's the Ben Jenks challenge.
But I think every other one is just me just doing something, you know. I don't know if it was like a Tempest challenge.
You're just doing it to do it.
Those ones are a challenge.
Yeah, but I think that's a challenge.
Okay. That you can actually get a wristband for.
That you can get a wristband for, yeah.
Okay.
And I feel someone's done further.
I think so.
I think someone's gone to the further one.
I think so. I think someone has at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
That was ugly. I didn't land on the edge there.
Always a harsh critic, man. That's hilarious, dude. So do you have anything on the current horizon right now, or what are your plans coming up into the near future as we venture into summer 2019?
Oh, God, I'm kind of just enjoying a little bit of time off right now. I just got done with Jungle Cruise reshoots in Atlanta. And then before that was Birds of Prey. And, I'm kind of just, I don't know, I haven't worked for a little bit. It's kind of nice. Just relaxing, riding my bike at the beach every day. It's
enjoying your new Tesla Model 3 Performance Edition.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Yeah.
Which is crazy, man. And that's part of what's so full circle about all this to me is that I've seen you when you had no worries. I've seen you when you started working.
Yeah.
And then to see you now where you're buying a Tesla Model 3. You and I went to go watch Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor live in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's just really cool to see the journey and the path, and I've been very fortunate to have seen everything. I feel like because I used to watch you before you even came to America. I've seen you here, and I'm anxious to see what happens next.
Yeah, I feel life's about experience, and you taught me that. It's experiencing the Conor McGregor fight, seeing him versus Mayweather was crazy.
It's a once in a lifetime. Yeah. It's not gonna happen again.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad I did it. Yeah. I'm glad we did it. And I think we've had plenty of those, just like anything, just like the Egypt trip, climbing the pyramid is an experience, who can really say that they've done that? There's a lot of people, but in the world, very small percentage of people have done that, It's just an experience, whether it's going to China and doing the Great Wall or whatever it is, I think life's about experience. And I think fortunately enough for us, our job lets us travel to some cool places, I've been to Egypt, China, Russia, Hawaii, Dubai, all over America, all over Europe, for work, to get paid to go to these places, and then you have a weekend off and go out and experience it. It's incredible. I'd be a fool to not take advantage of that and go see these places, and I don't know. It's cool. I think you gain a lot from, seeing seeing how people live in different places and just seeing a different culture. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah.
And then just real quick, man, for all the kids out there, because the main reason why we do this is to not only share stories and for us to catch up, but it's also to inspire people out there that are probably in a similar situation. For a kid that's back home in Blackburn, UK, working at a kebab shop and doing parkour for fun, do you have any advice for him on what to do if he wants to pursue a career like this, or just in general, any advice in general from a kid like you that has come from a small city and is now living over here in America?
Well, I think regardless of what you do in life, whether you do parkour or whether you are an athlete of some sort or whether you are an artist or whatever it is, I think simplest way, you would just find your passion and follow it, Find your passion, put time and effort into dedicating yourself to that passion, and good things will happen.
Hell yeah.
I think if you're trying to do something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you're trying to do it for money, you're never going to have that drive to push harder or go further. You're never going to have that passion that we had for martial arts, for parkour, for basketball. That passion is the thing that will take you really far. Yeah. And I think if you follow that, you're destined for success.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good advice, man. Hell yeah. That's crazy. Well, there's so much other stuff that we'll have to cover at some point. But I think this is a good and safe starting point for all the stories that we have amongst our friendship.
Yeah, I feel we could do...
I feel like we got out of this one pretty scotch-free, man, without embarrassing either one of us or embarrassing our families.
Yeah. I feel we have so much to talk about.
Yeah, and as the JAMCast evolves, we'll bring you back and we can talk about some of those times. But real quick, man, look into that camera, swing the mic in front of you, and shout out where people can follow you online. What is your socials?
Oh, I don't care about people following me, honestly. I don't really post anything, but my main thing is Instagram if you want to follow me on at Ben Jenks.
All right, hell yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Dope, dog. Well, thank you for coming through, man. And as always, guys, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for brand new jam breakdowns, looking at the top clips from around the movement world, and every Friday for brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members, just like Mr. Ben Jenkin. So with that being said, guys, as always, got to give a very special shout out to Mr. Paul Whitecotton for running things behind the cameras. Got to give a special shout out to our guest this week, Mr. Ben Jenkin. And as always, guys, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, see you all soon. Peace.